Hello and welcome. My name is Tavishima Ayede. I solve sales and marketing challenges, and I'm making today's recording from my living room. And my neighbor is working on his car outside, so expect to hear some noise in the background. Now, the goal of this podcast is not to tell you about my neighbor's car, but we're here, gathered and focused on business education. So please spread the word so that your friends and family members in Nigeria and abroad can benefit from the questions that we tackle. They can do that by subscribing on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, or any player of their choice. And if you'd love to connect with me, then call, SMS, or WhatsApp me on 080-6466-2140. Now, today on the podcast is also going to be another diary session for a team that I'm working with, Rudolph, Sheung, and Elsie, so that you guys can listen to this in the future and remember some of the things that we spoke about and why and what it is that we have to do next. So, in one of the sessions that I had with this team of three, and they're involved in solar sales in Lagos, we looked at daily targets. And for those of you who've been listening to the podcast for the last week or two, you remember, talking about 10 net new calls, why that is important, for any business. It doesn't have to be 10, because it depends on each business. But for them, we just came up with 10. But the principle is that you have to be making a certain number of net new calls every day if you're going to keep putting people in the pipeline. Or else what will happen is over time, you will close some deals. Those people have moved. Over time, you will lose some deals. Those people have moved. And over time, things will happen. You will get malaria. You will forget to call somebody back. All these kinds of things. And some people will fall through the crack. Those ones have moved. Except if you have a system and you're able to catch up with them. But bottom line is, one day you're going to wake up with nobody to talk to. And the problem with having nobody to talk to today is every business has a sales cycle. So like back in my wedding photography days, sales cycle was like 2 months, 3 months. So in other words, if I didn't talk to any bride in January, I will have no business in March or in April. It's that basic. So every business has that kind of thing built in. Its sales cycle. So if you're not talking to net new people every day, it's guaranteed you'll wake up one time in the future, your bank account will be on zero, and you'll be wondering why. So if your sales cycle is 6 months, the reason why you're broke in December is because you were not talking to anybody in June or July. It's not magic. It's just a game of numbers, and it's a game of probability. So that's the reason why we have to be talking to net new people every single day. Figuring out the numbers, it depends. You have to talk to the team. It depends on their experience level. Depends on how quickly they are willing to learn. It depends on their skill set. It depends on the industry. Different things. Like with this team now, Elsie, Sheung, and Rudolph, because sometimes conversations can take anything between 20 to 30 minutes when talking to one person. They said that it's unrealistic to assume that you can talk to 10 people in 3 hours. And looking at things that way, okay, yes, you do have a point. So we have reviewed. Okay, not reviewed. We just extended the deadline. So instead of making 10 net new calls every 3 hours, we're now thinking by the close of business day, you should have spoken to 10 brand new callers. But like I said, it depends. Industry to industry, skill person of the skill level of the person who's calling, and the nature of the product or the service. Because there's another client where we needed to get the salesperson on the phone, on the phones, and in fact, that's also a current client as well. And I spoke to the Oga, and I told her that, look, you have this guy doing too many things. We need him to be hitting the phones, especially since we're working towards this program that is coming up. You have in your database 500 contacts that nobody has touched. Before you start paying for brand new money for Instagram leads and everything, let this guy call this thing. Let's give him 1 month and let him call this thing. And she agreed. So that was step one. Step two, I now said, we can't have him doing this. Let the guy just sit down and be calling people. When he enters the office, 9 o'clock in the morning, let him just call until break. He will go and, do whatever he does, go and eat, go and watch Netflix or whatever, come back and then continue calling. And the lady agreed. But she even went farther than I thought. She was able to delegate other things to every single member of the team so that all he had to do was nothing but call. On the first day, I told the guy, look, we have 500 contacts. These are the number of days. So on average, if we're doing 33 every day, we should be cool. On the first day, he did 38. And, that was not bad. So the challenge now is reviewing the calls that he's been making to make sure that they were qualitative calls and that the level of conversations that he has been having is good. But the thing is, because I was able to get some buy-in from Oga and we removed everything from his plate, all he's doing is just making the calls. So he will call. He's not in charge of sending the proposal, of doing email follow-up, nothing like that. He's only just to make the call, put all the notes in the diary. Somebody else will take it from the diary and continue from there. So it depends. So for your own industry, it might be 2, it might be 3, it depends. There was somebody that I was talking to last year who is in the construction space, and what he sells is heavy duty equipment. Now, we didn't end up working together. For somebody that sells heavy duty equipment, I doubt he can be talking to 10 people in a day or 38 people in a day because anyway, we didn't end up working together, so I haven't done research in that space. But how many people buy heavy duty equipment? Tractor, crane, digger, that rolling thing that you use to roll quota when you're making roads and things like that. So I doubt that there are those many companies. And then, like I heard from someone else who's in the airplane space, renting aircraft and things like that. By the time you are into that space, how many airplane companies are there? There's Boeing, and then who again? Boeing, and then there are not many. They're not up to 10. So there are some industries that, realistically speaking, you can't go and be calling 10 people every day. But bottom line, the truth is still the same. The math is still the same. No matter your service, your product, your industry, you have to be talking to a certain number of net new people every day. Or else one day, you wake up and you'll be broke. And the reason why you're broke is because you are not talking to people a certain whatever beforehand. So let's say for airplanes now, for instance, I hear that airplanes, that the sales cycle is like 3-4 years. So if there's no more Nigerian Airways. Let's see. Which airplane is there now? Air Peace. So if Air Peace if somebody wants to sell airplanes to Air Peace, and you call Air Peace today, you're not going to sell that plane to Air Peace today. Air Peace is likely going to buy that plane 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now. So if you're in that space where you're selling airplanes, if you're broke in 2025, it's because you didn't talk to anybody in 2023, Abby? 2025, it means you didn't talk to anybody in 2022, 2021. That's the reason why you're broke today. So, and then let me move on. I think I've overflogged this net new calls thing. So we reviewed the numbers, and then next thing we went into handling objections. That's why I wanted to make today's podcast episode, because I think there are some good objections here. Now, Sheon, who's the newest member of the team, he called somebody, and then the person said, where's your office in Abuja? And then, of course, Sharon boldly said, yeah, sure, we have an office in Abuja. The guy said, where's the address? I said, no problem, I'll get that for you. And then he cut the call. And then he went to go and speak to his colleagues. And then they said, Sharon, we don't have office in Abuja. What we have is, we have our network of engineers there. So, we're sorted. The engineer can always go on site, this, that. So we cover Abuja virtually. We cover Abuja, where else? Did they say Kaduna? I can't remember, but anyway, they cover Abuja virtually, and they have people on ground. They just don't have a storeroom. They just don't have an office, things like that. So, of course, he had to go and call by the guy. They say, bro, you know what? We actually don't have an office in Abuja, but, and then he explained the situation. So, that's the first learning from the situation, that we who man the phones and who talk to customers, let us not say what we do not know for sure. There actually is no problem with saying, how do I put it? With saying, oh, I'm not sure about that. I know that we have service clients in Abuja before. Please let me confirm from my colleagues. I'll call you back in 5 minutes. There's actually nothing wrong with saying that. Rather than telling the customer, we can do this, then you call the customer back later on to say, Actually, when I said we can do this, no, we can't. But this, but that, but that. It just comes across somehow. So only say what it is that you know. If you're not sure, say, I'll take responsibility for that. I'll get back to you. Give me 5 minutes. Give me 1 hour. Give me 30 minutes, and then get back to the customer when you say you can. So please, when we're on the phone with the customers, only say the one that you know. Only say the one that you are sure. Don't guess. Then another reason why I want to bring this up is because, he did the usual thing, which was, oh, I'm sorry about that, sir. No, we don't have office in Abuja, but blah, 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 blah. So it's this no but combination. Now, when we're in sales, we're trying to move people along. We're trying to move an agenda along. We're trying to lead people somewhere. We're trying to influence people somewhere. We're trying to maintain a certain groove, maintain a certain mojo. We're trying to maintain a certain motion. You understand what I'm saying? We're trying to move things in one particular regard. And so it helps when we use lots of positive, assumptive language and avoid negative, what's the other word? Negative language. So as much as possible, in fact, Grant Cardone says that a salesman should never say no. That doesn't mean you should lie, all right? So there are some people who are that harsh who will say a salesperson should never, ever, ever say no. I won't go that far because I think there are some situations where actually you do have to say no. But the thing is, we have to look for ways of being affirmative, being positive, and carrying on the conversation. So instead of saying, if somebody asks you, where's your office in Abuja? Instead of saying, no, we do not have offices in Abuja, but we have a team of dedicated engineers. The problem with that is you are now on the back foot. You are now on the defensive. And that is not a good place for any salesperson to be, for any business person to be, where you're on the reactive, on the defensive. Is not good. So I told him and the team that this is how we're going to handle it next time. So hold on, let me just scroll through the notes. I want to use the exact phrase that we came up with. By the way, this exact phrase, yes, it sounds very formal because I am the one who crafted it. And I tend to speak very formally when I'm with clients. But you don't have to use the exact words. Just take the principle and then apply it to your own situation. Say it how you want to say it. It doesn't have to be in English. If you like to flow in Yoruba with your customers, then, use the principles. Flow in Yoruba, flow in Igbo, flow in Efik, flow in Pidgin, however it is that you want to do it. So this is what we came up with, that the framework would be something like this. So somebody asks, young man, where's your office in Abuja? Oh, and yes, sometimes that's the attitude, like young man, because they can tell that you're young and, they're trying to, shake you, fill you up, fill you out. And, now, Nigeria, everybody likes to feel like they're a big man. So, yes, we do have some of those young man situations. So the person says, young man, where's your office in Abuja? So the response is not, no, we don't have an office in Abuja, but we have a team of engineers. What you say is, we have, how do I put it? Where did I write it? Okay, so we have a team of engineers in Abuja readily available to visit any site in the FCT at any time this week. Is there any particular reason why you're asking? So that's how you answer. Now you notice, I didn't use the word no, I didn't use the word but, and I didn't quite avoid the question. And another thing is, I put in a follow-up question there because we're trying to get to the root of why this guy is asking this question. Because if you listen to yesterday's episode, or maybe the day before yesterday, remember, I said that lots of us, when somebody give us small objection, we assume we know the reason why somebody is asking. And then we now deal with that, our assumption. But we need to figure out exactly what it is that the person is thinking. So if somebody says, do you have office in Abuja? Where is your office in Abuja? Now, Sheol assumed that the guy was trying to size up the company. And I agree with him. I think he actually was trying to size up the company. Do you guys have national spread? Maybe he will drive by and see whether the office is a bacha or whether it's an impressive mall or something. Then from there, he will now know how to rate the company because these things happen. In fact, there was this time I was chilling with my guy, Korede. But Korede has left now. He has Japa. He carried his whole family. And he said to blazes with Nigeria, to blazes with all of you. So the guy has left. And he's now in Canada. and he used to make documentaries and music videos for very popular artists at the time. I think he even worked on one MI project. So, funny thing is, I think people like Korede actually stand a better chance of blowing here in Nigeria than blowing in Canada. But anyway, the guy has gone. The guy don't jack back. So I was in Korede's office now, and we're just chilling, just gisting because we went to the same school. Then somebody called him, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm in the office. You can come." Now, Korede, you know how Yoruba boys can be now. He was a very package kind of guy. You understand? As in high packaging. So he was in Popsy's house because Popsy was a military man and built some properties in Abuja. So the house was divided into two. Upstairs was family unit. Downstairs, Korede just converted the whole thing to studio. So the place that should have been the garage, where you park the car inside, yeah, fancy house like that. Yeah, real fancy. I mean, which Nigerian parks a car inside the house? Anyway, so the place that should have been the garage, that's what he converted to green screen. He painted the place out. They just greened it up. Then they had different backgrounds. Then they also had different shooting areas. And then he also bought this massive Apple screens. Big screen, like that kind. 30-something inches, 50-something inches, like massive computers so that people can do editing. Then for him and his editors, everybody had MacBook Pro, everywhere, just Apple. Of course, AC as in AC tight, very whatever. So the guy called now, he said, "No problem, in the office, you can come." He didn't know that Korede understands Hausa. So the guy came into the office because Korede was an Abuja boy. I mean, you can say I was an Abuja boy because my family came here in 1983, but I don't speak Hausa. So the guy came into the office now, spoke with Korede for like a few minutes, and just said one moment he wants to make a phone call. He now called this guy. The guy now started speaking in Hausa. He was calling his business partner. He told him that, "Look, we are going with these people. That, from what I have seen here, everything is complete. This person is the truth. This person has everything. If you come and see all the equipment, like, this person is on point. Honestly, like, Gaskia, this is the person that we are going to use. So I'm going to start negotiating money with him right now. You just be on standby so that when the time comes, we'll transfer the money." Excuse me. That's what the guy said in Hausa. Then he now switched back to English and then started talking with Korede. He didn't realize that Korede understands Hausa. So when the guy left, Korede now told me that, okay, this is the conversation that happened. So these things happen, is normal. People are always trying to size us up. Is this a correct guy? Is this guy capable? So people try to size us up. So that kind of thing now. Where's your office in Abuja? Do you have office in Abuja? Normal. The guy can be sizing you up. But we don't assume. We pull out that assumption. And that is the whole point of that second part, the follow-up question, which is there any reason in particular you're asking? So we have engineers in Abuja who are readily available to visit any site in the FCT at any time this week. Is there any reason in particular why you're asking? And then you hear what the person has to say. If the person gives answers and it's like it's a matter of sizing up, then Elsie, who has been with the team for a very long time, she told us that they actually have videos of finished projects, completed installations in Abuja, different parts of the north. Then they also have, what do you call this thing? Brochures and, blah, blah, blah. But we agreed that the photos and the videos of the finished installation sites in Abuja and in other places, that's the one that will really give more, what's the word? Give more oomph, give more heft, more power, you understand? To show that, okay, yeah, these people can do this job. Because I have a 6-bedroom mansion on Minister's Hill, and here they have done an installation for a 30-bedroom mansion on Minister's Hill or whatever. So that's the kind of thing that will inspire the confidence or inspire the credibility. So that's the whole point. But remember, like I said in yesterday's episode or the day before yesterday, whenever somebody throw you small objection, it's not okay to just react, but we need to try and ask questions and figure out exactly what is on their mind so that you can address it. Adequately, because sometimes maybe it's not sizing you up. Sometimes maybe it's just availability and responsiveness. And if that's the case, the first part of what you said, which is we have engineers in the FCT readily available to visit any site at any time, day or night, this week, that might meet the person's concerns. So, but ask first. So that was the response to where's your office in Abuja, or do you have office in Abuja? Then, okay, this one was from Rudolph. Okay, somebody said basically the scope. Person was saying that look, you're too expensive, you're beyond my budget. I'm a retiree, and I still want, excuse me, I still want 10 kVA. And Rudolph was trying to educate the guy that look, you say you want 10 kVA, but you can't be saying that your budget is 5M. It's not going to cut it. There's nowhere in Abuja or in Lagos or in Port Harcourt that you'll be able to get 10 kVA for this. I can't even remember the kVA anyway, Sha. But even me, that I'm not in the business, the first time they said it, the thing didn't make sense to me. Because they called the kVA. The kVA was big. The guy was saying that his budget is 5M. And I'm wondering, like, because I have one small inverter in the house. We've done solar for Momsy. So even me as an ordinary person, the thing was not making sense. And I've told you guys before that there are people who are coming to buy from you. And to be honest, they have no realistic price expectations at all. None. Their price expectations are unrealistic because they've not done any single research whatsoever. So when I was in my wedding photography days, I always used to throw those people back into the field. Somebody will come and tell me that you want wedding photography, you want to do video, then you want 4 books, you want 5 frames, you want 6 DVDs, you want all the soft copy, and then you want them to print 300 hard copy, and all of that, you only want to pay 150K. I used to ask those people straight up like, oh, so I hope you don't mind me asking, am I the first person you're talking to? They'll say, yes. I'll say, oh, okay, no wonder. Because with all these things that you said, there's no way all of that can work with this budget. This is actually what obtains in Abuja. In Abuja, you're going to find different kinds of professionals. I'll even call some names of the competition. You have these guys like this, they charge between this and this. You have these guys between this and this, they charge between this and this. And you have the low class people who I won't say low class, of course, because there's no need for me to insult my fellow compatriots in the business. And you have much more affordably priced individuals who are within this and this. So for the affordably priced people, this is what you can expect to get. For the middle range, this is what you can expect to get. For the high range, this is what you can expect to get. So, you know what? I think it would be best for you to actually go out and talk to some other people. Just do some research. I'll call you again in about a week and then we'll take the conversation from there. How does that sound? Most people will say, oh yeah, sure, no problem. And sometimes you would call the people back, and now that they've gone out and their eye has opened small and they've seen that their budget is unrealistic, now you can have a realistic conversation. But however, to be honest, there were those situations where I'll call back and like joke, the person has found somebody that will give him exactly what he wants at exactly that price. What my own response to them was, oh, so you found exactly what you were looking for. Oh, congratulations, best of luck in your wedding. I'll call you after when just to say what's up, because I like to keep friendly with people. You never know where this life is going to. And then plus, when I'm running for president, the more people that I know, the better. So I'm always trying to expand my network, and that's how I'll just leave it. But by the way, just know that those kind of clients, they will stress your life. So if you meet somebody who is asking you for the sun and the moon and the earth, and the person wants your left leg and your right testicle, please avoid those people. They will not be worth the trouble. The thing that you will see in their hand. Anyway, a word is enough for the wise. All you have to do is to fall inside that mistake once. You will not make that mistake again. In fact, when I meet those people and I'm broke, I tell myself that this poverty I'm going through right now is better than me collecting this money and entering into this person's hand. I look for a way. I weave those people. I say, jump and pass. I say, tell the devil you did not see me. I say, get behind me, Satan. I'm not doing business with you. So, where was I? So, it's normal. Some people have unrealistic price expectations. So when somebody tells you, I'm a retiree, the price is too much, this is what I want, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the reason why I bring this up is this. Now, Rudolph judged correctly that these people, they are not gauging the market correctly. But what Rudolph did was he just assumed that, okay, because of that, this person is not my priority and this is a lost deal. I'm not going to be in touch with the customer. So he wrote the customer off. So I just told Rudolph, like, no, it's not like that. Yes, we deprioritize the person. But the goal is this. You tell the person just like you did, because Rudolph tried to do a good job of explaining to the person that, look, this is what obtains. If it is 10, 15, 10 kVA, 15 kVA, 20, whatever kVA that you need, you should be looking at this, like this, like this, like this. These are the different permutations. This is how the thing can work. So after that, send the person back into the field. Like, you know what? Don't just rely on my word. Go and talk to other people. I'm the first person you're talking to, so you understand. Go and talk to other people. When you talk to other people, you know what obtains. The person will say, okay. And you say, okay, right. So would it be okay for me to call you in about 2-3 weeks, just find out how you're getting along? Of course, the person will say, sure, you can. You will now call the person back in that 2-3 weeks, maybe 1 month, to find out, oh yeah, this is the young man, Rudolph, who spoke 3 weeks ago. You said you're going to go do some research. You say, yes, I remember you. So how's the research coming along? And then you keep quiet, and then you hear. You might hear that the man says, well, it turned out to be just like you said. I got other quotes, and yes, things are looking much more expensive than I thought. And then you now engage the person in conversation. Oh, really? You found other quotes? What exactly did you get? For what kind of setup? You see? And then you might be able to rescue that kind of thing, because now the person has a realistic price expectation. However, if the person says, I told you, I found exactly what I'm looking for, congratulate the guy and say, oh, okay, good. I'm really happy for you that you're able to find what you're looking for at the price. And then you end the phone call politely. And after that, you say a prayer. You say, thank God I did not fall into this person's hand. Because if you're a professional and you know what's up, and you know the certain kinds of effort or quality that needs to go into certain kinds of projects, you just know that some things are a horror movie waiting to happen. You know, like how those things they put on Instagram when they will say what the client wanted. Then they will show a picture of Rihanna on the red carpet looking all bejeweled and everything. And then they will now say what the client got. They will now put a picture of the client looking, somehow. The reason why Rihanna looks the way she does on the red carpet, all bejeweled and all bedazzled, is because she paid for the actual bejeweling and the bedazzling. But you want to have the Rihanna look, but you want to pay Taylor Laurent pricing. Yeah, when I was in secondary school, that's what we used to say. There was was it Oscar de la Renta and all these other big designers. So some boys now used to say that's Balende. They'll say, what are you wearing? You say it's Taylor Laurent. That's Taylor now, normal Taylor Laurent. So during my set, that's what we used to say in Greg's, Balende back then. So you want Oscar de la Renta look. You want Giovanni something look. But you want to pay Taylor Laurent price. So you get what you're asking for. So if you find that kind of client and they're able to find it, just thank God that, okay, thank God I didn't fall into this person's hand. And then you move on. So, that's what you do for people who say, you're too expensive, blah, blah, blah. This is what I want. Let me go and do research. So, that's your response. Yes, I agree. This is beyond your budget. But for these specifications that we've discussed, this is a much more realistic budget. However, is it okay for me to keep in touch to see how you're getting along with your research? The person will say, sure, no problem. Now, another reason why you ask this kind of question, can I keep in touch in the future, is that allows you to now put the person in relationship nurturing sequences. Relationship nurturing sequences are the phone calls that you're going to make to find out how the person is getting along with the research. So that if he's now on the same page, we can continue the conversation. But apart from that, all those messages that you send once in a while, happy new month, happy new this, promo available, discount available, new financing this available, new model of this available, new version of this available, new upgrade, all those messages. You don't have permission to be sending the person that kind of message, and you won't be a pest because you did have that conversation. Like, can I be checking up on you, once in a while? So that's it. So, of course, we discussed other things in the meeting with LC, Rudolph, and Sheung, but these are just some of the main that I think we can talk about over here so that you guys can get some value from. And then, hopefully, I really, really hope that Sean, Elsie, and Rudolph, you guys listen to this episode later on and get some value. Yeah, get some value from that. And anyway, I wanted to say something, but let me not say it. It's not appropriate for public consumption, at least not yet. So that's it, and that is all for today. Remember, if you'd love to connect with me, you can call, you can SMS, you can WhatsApp me on 080-6466-2140. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'll catch you next time, same place, in your headphones or in your speakers.